Black Mirror, Season 7, Episode 5, Eulogy. Let's get into the conversation here about what I think about this episode as a whole. Please leave a comment down below what you rate this episode out of 10 before we even start. If you're not subscribed, make sure you drop a sub. We're going through every single Black Mirror Season 7 episode. There's going to be more Black Mirror videos as well as other videos as well coming very, very soon on the channel. Eulogy follows Philip, and he's got a call from the team of Eulogy about the death of a previous partner of his from many, many years ago that he hasn't thought of in donkey's years. She lives in the UK now, in London, I believe, and she has passed away, and her daughter has set up with the team of Eulogy, the company Eulogy, to create a digital memorial service for her, which is already a very, very cool concept to explore, which we're going to go on to very, very soon, obviously the topic of concept. But the story, we follow Philip. He gets the toolkit of Eulogy. It's a little device, again, that you attach to the side of your head. A lot of Black Mirror actually is just a tool that you attach to the side of your head, but we don't care about the hardware of some of these things. It's all about the software and the idea of them. This gives you the ability to access your memories, but because Philip hasn't thought of and hasn't got any memories of his previous partner anymore, he's completely blocked it out in his life. He needs to access these memories through different realms, and the main realm that we explore are photographs, and he uses them, he looks at them, and then the machine allows him to enter them in his mind, which I think is really cool. And we go through the story. Basically the whole story is a process of him trying to connect the dots, trying to remember her again when he's forced himself to forget her because she left him in such a devastated, hurtful place. He is followed in this episode by the guide. The guide is with him, and the guide feels like a very objective standpoint. Maybe not objective, actually. I think she just offers a alternate standpoint in this episode. I think what's really brilliant about this story is, of course, we're entering these photos and we are seeing the story being told about her, the deceased ex-partner, and him from his perspective. We are seeing his memories from his perspective, and he's detailing them in his way. And that, I think, is a brilliant exploration of the story in this episode. I think really does explore the issue with memories and the way that we always are very biased in our retelling of them. We will mask out situations that look worse for us, whether it's us doing something objectively wrong, like he did cheat on his partner, and he didn't really talk about that. He ignored it, and it required the guide, who of course we find out is the daughter of the ex-partner. What happened in those photos and in those memories weren't exactly as they were being told to us, because Philip was giving a biased recollection. Because he vilified Carol, his ex-partner, who obviously died, he vilified her so much over the years, burning out pictures of her and all these things. He tricked himself to believe that in certain scenarios it was this rather than that. And the guide, obviously being the daughter of Carol, just allowed him to potentially see. I don't know if it was like he actually didn't know, or he was just in the moment blocking it out, and it required, and she just called him out on it, and he was like, yes, okay, that was nothing though. One of those ones. But the story as a whole was brilliant, was beautiful. We just explore this man who has just reclused himself. He's removed. He seems to be in a very quiet town. He doesn't look like the person that we see in those photos. He doesn't look like an ex-band member or things like that. He doesn't give off that energy and that vibe. So you can tell that this moment where things fell apart with him and his partner left him in such a terrible place, and that's what the guide actually calls him out on, which I thought was really interesting as well. But yeah, the story as a whole was fantastic. The journey he goes on throughout it, where I don't have any photos, I have one box here, I'll get develop more, I got more photos, I've actually got this, I've got that. He finds so many different things, even because of how much he forced himself to hate Carol for what she did, obviously turning him down and not agreeing to the proposal, and then her leaving. He forced himself to hate her so much that even when the guide says, oh, is there any recorded version of the music that you could listen to help you remember her, because music is such an important tool within memory, he denies that he even has that. And at the very end, when he realizes and he reads that note that it was all just miscommunication, which is even more harrowing. That story element of it being miscommunication after, what was it, 15, 20, 30 years, whatever the time frame was, absolutely devastating. And it made me feel a little bit like the TV show One Day. Very, very subtle, very, very little reference, but One Day, very big spoilers. Definitely watch it on Netflix if you haven't watched it. It's probably the best TV show I've ever seen. Had me crying after every episode. But the whole vibe of that episode is just two people that follow each other throughout life, and they just waste so much time together because they don't communicate those feelings. And it feels like this episode isn't too dissimilar to that, because they wasted everything. He wasted his whole life holding this vendetta and this anger towards her because of the miscommunication, because of how he masked his memories to taint her in his mind, even though he was a villain as well. He did the bad things as well. But, you know, little things of when they're at that Halloween party and he's saying she was flirting with that guy all night. And then the guide has to say, isn't that her over there? Do you not see her leaning away? And wait, do you not see you cuddling next to the other bartender, who eventually we see he cheats on her with? So many different things. And like, it's interesting where like memories and stories and like things can be explained from two different perspectives and be so different. But just everything about the story I think was beautiful, and I think it was very, very well done, of like a gradual process of us going through these memories. Moving over to the concept, and now I've already very much delved into the concept here, but we're going to talk more just physically about eulogy as a tool and what that could mean for, you know, if that was a real thing in life. And like, I think it's beautiful. As you can see, I very much do love photos and memories. I'm more into videos, looking into videos. But with the tool of eulogy, it wasn't a tool that could only go into photographs. It was a tool that could access memories and really delve into them, and then actually just like use them and upload them to be used in a eulogy in the service of her funeral. That in itself is just incredible. And I think a tool that could help you access and really delve into those memories, because I did get a little bit choked up, because, you know, in life you lose people all the time. You know, people get older and they pass away. Your grandparents, your parents, your loved ones, and there are times, like my granddad passed away many years ago, and there's sometimes where you do forget their voice, or you do forget their face. Sometimes as an extreme. Fortunately for myself, I haven't got to that point just yet, but I have loads of photos and videos to help me trigger those memories, and I do a 1 second a day. I've been doing it since 2020. You forget so many different little things, but memory comes back from such a little trigger. Genuinely, it's crazy. I see one video and I genuinely remember the whole day, whereas if you told me to tell you what happened in April in 2020, I'd struggle to tell you, but when I watch that video, it reminds me. So this concept is brilliant. Like, genuinely one of the best concepts I think Black Mirror have done. Not too dissimilar to season 1, you know, where you could access your memories through that remote control. That's a little bit different. This one's a lot more positive. But yeah, that as a concept is incredible. And the way it was used in this episode for him just to, you know, really delve into memories that he's put to the back of his mind, like completely tried to forget because he tarnished his memory of her, was just beautiful. Like, to see that process happen was really, really cool. But yeah, concept as a whole was incredible. The idea of entering a photograph, just like, and then while in the photograph, remembering different things, giving it context while you're in it. And just, yeah, brilliant concept. And one concept that I'd actually love to see again, and I will do a video very, very soon. I'm going to do a top 10 Black Mirror episodes that deserve a sequel. We'll be talking about that very, very soon. Let's move over to the characters. And I actually think the characters are incredible. Just the guide and just Philip. We follow those two throughout this episode. I think Philip is such an interesting character because, I don't know, like, I see myself in that a little bit. Like, I can see the whole episode, I believe, explores us overthinking things, us in our own heads, us like changing scenarios based on our own personal voice. Do you know what I mean? Like, we see certain things happen, and I do that all the time. You overthink, you look over and you maybe think, oh, they're laughing at me, they're judging me, this, that, and the other. You do all those things, and you don't necessarily have an internal monologue that contrasts that opinion. And he's obviously been stuck with that monologue in his head for years, and it's completely tainted his memories. And the guide is there to just offer us that little understanding that that's not true, is it? And then allows him to kind of reveal it himself. In the early stages, she literally just offers an alternative view and allows him to reveal it himself. Which I think helps him. It's like a therapy session for him. Like, he's revealing things as he goes. With his character, like, I think it furthers that metaphor of we're going into his mind, like how we overthink in our brain. Like, we have our own internal monologue that masks and changes our opinions and causes biases. I think the fact that we in the tool itself is entering his mind and going, you know, I think it furthers that metaphor even more. Even though we never see Carol really until the very end, I think she's a very interesting character as well, of somebody that was, you know, exploring music and like little things of like she loved the cello, but when she was part of the band, he made her play the piano because the cello didn't fit their sound. Like that, like in the moment you just see a picture and you don't question it, but then the guide is there and we do question it. And I think there is an element of, it's interesting because as the audience we're watching it and I feel like we root for him, we feel his pain, we feel his point of view, but it's because it's the only point of view that's being portrayed to us. And I think as a character you find out that he isn't as good as he's making himself out to be. He's not the innocent person in this party. And I think the big reveal that he cheated on her and things like that really portray him differently because he's playing the victim throughout all of this. He's playing this sad, lonely, wrecked person, and he's blamed that all on Carol, which of course when we learn that she refused his proposal and left for the restaurant and things like that, of course you can see why that would be perceived that way and how he would perceive it that way. But all he had to do was see that note, and I think that was so harrowing, like, because your life has just like been used in this way. You're burning memories, like you should treasure your memories in life. Every memory is important to build who you are as a person, and he is burning them and tarnishing them all because of that one missed opportunity of reading that note. And that was just terrible. And it was like really just interesting to see him throughout this story. And I think Paul Giamatti played it beautifully as well. Just like, yeah, the characters just really, I just really loved Philip. I really loved him, but you shouldn't love him. But I can see myself in him because I overthink and I perceive things wrong sometimes because of my internal monologue that will see things in a certain way when maybe that isn't even the case. And then you look back on things and you realize, oh, if I just heard the other perspective, or if I just communicate, let me know if you can relate to Philip in any way, shape or form. Not fully, I ain't out cheating on people and things like that, but certain things of just like, you just look over at people and you maybe see them doing something and you're like, oh man, but they maybe weren't. And maybe it was just me. And like Philip was just an insecure individual. The twist. We've spoken a lot in this episode so far, but the twist, there isn't really a big twist. Of course, the fact that the guide is the daughter of Carol is quite significant. But I think there's little subtle twists throughout. And I think the main twist is the fact that we can't trust his perspective. And I think this whole exploration on memories and, you know, there's a whole thing about like eyewitness testimonies aren't really trusted in criminal law, because aren't always trusted, I should say, because of the fact that we can swerve and sway different memories and form them differently to the actual truth. I think was explored, and that was like the twist, I think, throughout, that Philip was somebody that we believed wholeheartedly, but there's so much to his story that he wasn't telling us because he masked it and avoided it. And I don't think this episode needed a big twist, like a big boom twist, but I think there was a big element. I don't know if the word twist is correct, but I think there was a big narrative arc where like it all culminated to that proposal that went wrong and that note that was missed. And then the fact that he read it all in 30 years down the line and realized that he wasted everything in life. He wasted his life. He could have gone and lived a life with her, had a kid. Like he could have been the father to the guide. I just genuinely think like this episode really just explores memories as a whole, but also just communication and like how we can tarnish our memories, tarnish the truth of a situation by not fully communicating, not fully understanding both perspectives and sides to give yourself the chance to be happy sometimes. He wrecked his chance of being happy because he was too caught up in his own bubble, his own pain, his own head. All he had to do was read that note. It also kind of low-key makes me think, oh, it was kind of explored back before there was a lot of technology. In the modern day, that's a WhatsApp message that you just read. Simple. Bloody letters and notes. Fucking, you lose that piece of paper, easy peasy. nowadays, the benefit of technology is that you're going to get an email at the least, you know, it's going to be somewhere in your junk file. You're going to find it. I did rank this episode a 7.5 out of 10. Very, very good. I did put it above Bête Noire at the moment. I will be doing a actual tier list ranking of each episode at the end of all of these videos, just as like a full-on roundup of my ranking. I may even watch some again just to further my thoughts on them. But yeah, 7.5 out of 10. Brilliant episode. Better than Bête Noire for me at the moment. But I didn't go much higher because when I was watching it, I actually didn't... I will rank something higher if I get moved by it. I think that's where I really enjoy media, films, TV, whatever it is. If I feel moved, it will go up in my estimation. And I think that's true for a lot of people. So the reason I didn't go maybe to an 8.5 or a 9 is I didn't necessarily, you know, let out that emotion. I felt things. I felt it. And you know what? I'm going to put something out there. I might have not felt it as much as you. I've actually never had a relationship, so maybe that's why I don't feel it as much as somebody who has, and maybe has, you know, lost out on the love of their life kind of thing. You know, but yeah, that might be playing a part in why I maybe didn't rank it as high. And if anyone came to me and said they rate it 9 out of 10, I'd believe you tenfold. If you told me you rate Plaything 9 out of 10, I maybe would question it a little bit. But anyway, that's what I rank it out of 10. Let me know in the comments down below what you rate it. Thank you for coming on through. If you're not subscribed, make sure you drop a sub. I've been Floppylegss, and I'll see you when I see you.